Hello, my name is Kingdom Hops, otherwise known as Houston, and today I am making a unscripted video talking about my depression. Now, this video is going to be really hard for me to do. I'm still going through a lot, and I don't like thinking about it, but I have to make amends for what I've done to people and the people I've hurt, and I feel like if I describe it, maybe I can put some hurting back. Mending, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So, I guess I should start by saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the insensitive and hurtful things that I have said to people over this year. I was losing myself, and I had a false sense of character. I will describe that more later as I tell the story, but I really do want to apologize to everybody that I've ever hurt, and I hope that you can find it in your hearts to forgive me. We don't have to become friends again, but I just want everyone to, I guess, understand where I'm coming from, I guess is the word. So, here I go. I've been struggling with, I was recently diagnosed with severe depression, 3 months ago, but I've been battling with it for 3 years now. Started my freshman year in high school. There's a lot of things that contributed to that, a lot of personal things that I don't want to go into detail about, but it was really hard for me at first because I knew that I was not normal, and I knew that what I was feeling was not who I used to be, but I kind of just pushed it off and said, I'll be fine, I'm strong. And when we learned about depression in health class, I kind of always mocked people that had it and said, how could you just force yourself to feel sad? I mean, it's a choice, just stop feeling sad, it's not that hard. And it came to bite me back in the butt. Anyway, sophomore year came around, and I got my first girlfriend, I guess, and I was peer pressured into things that I wasn't ready for. I was grown up into a very secluded very Christian home. We had very strict rules. I was sheltered from a lot of things such as sex, drugs, alcohol, anything worldly. The only thing I really knew was the Bible. And anyway, I was forced into things, and I wasn't ready for them, and it really attacked my character. So I started feeling worthless, in a sense. I felt corrupted, used, disgusted, and that continued to build on for many months. And around October, I met my friend Anthony, or Tony. I'm sure you've heard me talk about him many times. And luckily, he came into my life under circumstances because we used to be enemies, and we made amends. And now he is one of the biggest people in my life. I can't imagine living my life without him. Anyway, continuing on, February rolls around, and I started up a Cards Against Humanity game for fun. I invited a bunch of my friends, KH Unlimited, KH Organization, Lights Music, everything like that. Now, what happened with Lights was, she messaged me because I had her on Skype because she was a mod for HMK, and we both became mods. And she asked if she could join the game, and I didn't know her anywhere. And I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? You can join the game. And, yeah, she did. And ever since then, we hit it off. I talked to her more and more, and the more we talked, the more I realized that she was a really great person, and I really enjoyed talking to her. Then, in April, I decided to ask her out, and I did. And it was a hard process, but we did. We started going out, and that's when everything really started going down. I started having insecurities, I started having very self-conscious thoughts about am I good enough and whatnot, and I would destroy myself all the time. And started reflecting on what I did on social media and Twitch. I started having this mindset that everyone in the world is a piece of shit, and that the only people important to me are the ones that are close to me, like Anthony, Lights, a few of my other internet friends like Super Sora, blah blah blah. And I just had this mindset that everyone else was a waste of space, and that the only people important to me were the ones close to me. So I became very, very angry at the world, and I resented a lot of people, and it was very lonely, very sad, and it was really hard for me. And that mindset continued, as well as the constant depression and just sadness. But they stuck by me, and you guys could see from my social media about my insensitive jokes and memes that I just did not care, and it really hurt a lot of people. I started developing this personal attack kind of thinking where if you disagreed with me, I would take it as a personal attack, and I'm sure you guys have seen a bunch of that too, if you saw my social media, about me going off on people over having a different opinion or whatnot, because I took that personal. And that's also where I've hurt a lot of people just by that. And, at that point, the only thing I had left to live for was Lights. And I remember that I posted something, and I actually got a lot of backlash for it on Twitter. And, people were saying that, obviously, now I know that having only one person to live for is not very a good idea, because something's could happen, and if you lose them, what are you going to do with yourself, blah blah blah. But at that point in time, she really was all I lived for. She was the only thing that I was like, that she's the only reason that's worth going. So it was like it shook my whole foundation when people told me that. And I kind of flipped, and that's why I started going off on people, because they were attacking my only stability I had, and it was very hard. Anyway, so with that out of the mind, I started also becoming very suicidal. I had a few close calls. Luckily, I never really went all out for it, but I had basically prepared for it. I basically got everything I needed. I was very close at one point. I started, I guess, what's the word, setting up everything, but I had Lights and Tony help me. And it was close. I've had a lot of close calls because of it. And a little bit longer, I started developing triggers. And what triggers were for me is that certain actions that weren't a big deal, or certain words, phrases, jokes, they would set me off in a certain mood, whether it was depression, like super sad, or I was angry or jealous, negative emotions. And I really hurt a lot of people as well with that, especially Lights. I would get really jealous and hurt over nonsense. I would make her feel really bad because things like joining a stream instead of messaging me as soon as she got on, I would take that personal, nonsense like that, things that don't make sense. I was a really shitty boyfriend to her, and she still stood by me through all of that. She was my biggest reason to keep going. She never left my side, no matter how hard it was on her with how I acted, and I thank her so much for that. And then, well, it was getting to the point where I went to the doctor, and they diagnosed me with severe depression, and they asked me to go on antidepressants, and I said, nah, I want to try to fight it on my own because I felt okay. And I went home, and it was a month basically I had to go, and the suicidal thoughts just kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming, and it was so hard for me because I really was so tired of feeling this way and I wanted to give up. But I kept going. I kept just really believing that something would change. And finally, Lights convinced me to take the antidepressants, so a month later, I went and got my antidepressants in November. And I basically have been on them ever since. I've also been to a psychologist that I go to, and I've been getting a lot of therapy, and it's been helping a lot. I still have my breakdowns once in a while, but I also don't have my triggers anymore. I have more control over my emotions. I don't feel the need to be so insensitive. I don't hate the world. I actually love people now. And overall, I just really want to say sorry to everybody. I've hurt so many people by my insensitive jokes, my triggers, my everything. I've hurt so many people, and I really, really am sorry for everything that I've done to hurt any one of you. And I know some of you probably won't forgive me, and I don't expect you to. All I ask is that you understand why I did what I did, and hopefully we don't have to fight anymore. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate all your support. I love you all. Thank you.